This is Matador News, and these are today's headlines. In Minnesota, dozens are mourning the death of over 300 Somalians, including 2 Somali-Americans, in this weekend's Mogadishu massacre. The Metoo hashtag is sweeping the nation, raising awareness of the issue of sexual harassment.
Hello and welcome to Matador News. I'm Sun Lee.
And I'm Thomas Rodriguez.
LA Fire County officials say helicopters and planes are dropping water on a fire that erupted near the Mount Wilson observation early this morning. Officials say the blaze had burned about 30 acres and was 5% contained as of 10. The cause of the fire was not known. NorCal has yet to escape the heat as it erupted in another wildfire. Officials say 5 fire crew members have been injured while battling a new fire started last night in the Santa Cruz Mountains. The fire has prompted evacuations around Boulder Creek in the South Bay. The 125-acre flame started off as a house fire, then spread to the nearby vegetation. This comes just as the firefighters were getting a handle on places burning in the North Bay and throughout Northern California. Those fires have killed 41 people.
Republican Congressman Tom Marino has withdrawn his consideration to become the nation's next drug czar. President Trump announced the news on Twitter. The decision comes after reports detailed that Marino helped soften the DEA's capability to go after major drug distributors who supply the nation's opioid supply. Democrats called on Trump to withdraw Marino's nomination after the Washington Post and 60 Minutes reported on his past lobbying efforts. The president said he will declare a national emergency next week to address the opioid epidemic.
U.S.-backed forces say they have captured the last ISIS-held city in Syria. Raqqa was used as a base for ISIS to plan attacks abroad. The Syrian Democratic Forces have been fighting inside Raqqa since June. About 3,200 people were killed in the fight, including 1,100 civilians. Humanitarian groups say the refugee crisis in northeast Syria is rapidly escalating, with 270,000 people in critical need of aid and shelter.
The Weinstein board is meeting today to decide on the future of the company. The remaining members are negotiating a possible sale of the film studio after Harvey Weinstein's sexual assault and harassment allegations came to light. Weinstein's termination from the company will also be discussed among issues relating to the co-founder. The board of the Producers Guild of America voted unanimously on Monday to expel Weinstein from the prestigious organization. He was also expelled from an academy over the weekend, and he is reportedly in a rehab center in Arizona.
Governor Jerry Brown just passed a major piece of legislation. Let's check in with Alexandrea Mares with more on the story.
Thanks, Sun. California will legally recognize a third gender option for state residents who don't identify themselves as male or female. Governor Brown signed the Gender Recognition Act on Sunday. Residents have the option to change their gender to non-binary on birth certificates, state IDs, and driver's license. Some CSUN students are supportive of the new measure.
I think that we live in a society now where we don't really define, who we are based on what gender. I mean, people are just people.
I think it's definitely a good bill to sign, especially for people who really don't identify as male or female. It's just I think it's a very progressive move towards more inclusiveness throughout the state, and maybe we can, influence other states too.
California will join Oregon and Washington, D.C. as the only places in the U.S. that recognize a third gender option. The law goes into effect next year. Now back to Tom in the studio.
The Somalian community in Minnesota is shaken after a deadly bombing killed more than 300 people in Mogadishu, Somalia. Residents in St. Paul gathered to hold a vigil for the victims of the massacre. Rescue operations in Mogadishu are ongoing after the 2 bombings struck on Saturday night. A van filled with several hundred pounds of explosives was detonated near a hotel building. It collapsed the building and ignited a fuel tanker close by, setting several cars and local businesses ablaze. Another explosive was detonated 2 hours later in the Medina district. And no one has taken responsibility for the attack, but the Somalian government blames al-Shabaab militants who have attacked Mogadishu in the past.
About 3,000 people gathered at a candlelight vigil in Malta to remember investigative journalist Daphne Galizia. She was assassinated after a bomb was exploded near her home. There's been no claim of responsibility for the bombing. Galizia had a popular blog that included reports casting some of Malta's most powerful figures in a bad light. Those figures included bankers, casino operators, and Malta's prime minister. According to local media, Galizia filed a police report early October concerning death threats she had received.
Now let's go to Karina Vargas with the latest in sports.
Thanks, Tom. The Dodgers will try to get one game closer to winning the National League Championship. They took a 2-0 lead in the series against the Chicago Cubs. Justin Turner hit a 3-home run on Sunday night, giving the Dodgers a 4-1 win over the Cubs in Game 2. Retired Dodger announcer Vin Scully watched the game from his home. Scully says he is grateful the Dodgers have invited him and his wife Sandy to watch this year's playoff games from a suite. The Dodgers head into Game 3 tonight undefeated in the postseason and confident after Turner's ninth inning 3-run blast. Game 3 starts at 6 o'clock tonight at the Wrigley Field in Chicago. The wait is over. The NBA season finally tips off tonight. Opening night starts off with the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Boston Celtics. Odds makers are expecting the Celtics and the Cavs to be one of the biggest rivalries of this season. The Golden State Warriors headlined the second game of this evening, going head-to-head with the Houston Rockets. The Lakers and the Clippers play their first game against each other Thursday night at the Staples Center. NFL owners are meeting with the Players Union today to discuss the league's stance on protesting during the national anthem. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell says he hopes to find a way to move from protest to progress. Over the past several months, players have raised fists, locked arms, and kneeled to raise awareness on social issues. Some football fans and a few public officials, such as President Trump, have voiced their displeasure with this movement. They say the movement is disrespectful to the American flag and those who have served to protect it. Now let's check in with Kimberly Arenas for the latest in entertainment.
The Metoo hashtag went viral, following the latest updates in the Harvey Weinstein scandal. Let's go right to the newsroom with Erika Villalvazo, who has more on the story.
Thank you, Kimberly. In the wake of Harvey Weinstein's sexual allegations, more celebrities are speaking out. The MeToo hashtag is taking over social media platforms. The hashtag began as a call to action from actress Alyssa Milano urging women to speak out. So far, over 500,000 women have tweeted MeToo. CSUN students say they think it's difficult for women to speak out on sexual assault.
I've heard of it, and it was actually interesting because it was brought up in one of our fraternity meetings that I go to. And we were talking about it just as a group discussion. And just, we were talking about how people were using it to make fun of other people. And how that's not a good thing ever. Like, you should not make fun of people who are going through, like, just, I guess, different experiences, like rape and stuff like that too.
I think it's very important that people are stepping up and sharing their stories, whether or not they're related to this particular persona. I think that society at large is damaged by the fact that there's this whole stigma about stepping out, sharing your story, and exposing discrimination, whether it's racial or gender or anyway. So in that general sense, I think that relating the sexual assault to any form of discrimination is super important to our society, just to give some more light to those issues.
Yeah, I do think that CSUN is doing really the most that they could do, like putting out all the information and having so many programs for women to go. It's just, I think it's really hard. The hardest part is for like women who are the victims to get themselves to go to those things. I think it's really important for like fellow students to find their friends that has happened to and go with their friends to these programs. I know I've done it with one of my friends before. I got her to go there and stuff, but it's really hard for them to do it on their own.
If you or someone you know may have been a victim of sexual violence, the university provides a variety of services for students, such as group and individual therapy sessions, sexual assault prevention programs, and advocacy and counseling services. Students can also go to the CSUN website to learn more about these resources. Back to you in the newsroom, Kimberly.
The first ever Selena Quintanilla doodle premieres this morning. The animated singing cartoon of the late Mexican-American singer took 2 years to create after Perla Campos, the global marketing lead for Google, asked for more time to accurately portray the iconic singer. Campos says she met up with the Quintanilla family a few months back in order to make sure the details were right. From her signature hoop, earrings, to the red nails and the lipstick stain microphone, the doodle was created to tell the story of the singer. The Queen of Tex-Mex was murdered at age 23 in 1995. Let's hear from Karina about the latest in health.
The massive fires in Northern California have grown more unsafe by the day. The fires have filled the air with ashes and smoke that is unhealthy for everyone who inhales it. People have complained about chest pains and declining health since the start of the record-breaking fires. Smoke from the fire has invaded the homes of many residents. More than 40 people are confirmed dead, hundreds are still missing, about 34,000 remain evacuated, and thousands of buildings are completely destroyed. A U.S. maker of hospital products says it expects a temporary shortage of IV bags because of the hurricane that hit Puerto Rico. Baxter is the biggest maker of small saline bags for the U.S. market. Hurricane Irma wiped out the island's electrical grid, shutting down Baxter's 3 Puerto Rico factories for several days. The Food and Drug Administration says it's working with Baxter to limit any shortages, helping the company get fuel, manufacture supplies, and ship products. Now let's head back to Kimberly with more in business.
Netflix plans to increase its budget to spend between $7 and $8 billion on original content in 2018. The company expects to use revenue from its recent subscription price hike to fuel the spending on content. And in other business news, Amazon is looking for people to work this holiday season. The company is looking to hire nearly 120,000 workers. 3,000 of those will be hired in South Carolina. The company is also looking for a new headquarters, and cities have until Thursday to submit their bids to Amazon executives. New hires will work in fulfillment centers across the country, and some could be keeping their jobs after the holidays. The Center for Auto Safety is urging Ford to recall more than 1.3 million Explorer SUVs. The recall comes due to concerns of carbon monoxide poisoning in relation to Ford's 2011 through 2017 models. The company says it will be sending letters to the owners of these models to alert them to take their cars to dealers for inspections and any necessary repairs. Let's go back to Tom for more news.
Thanks, Kimberly. Hey, son, I have a question. What do you call a fake noodle?
I don't know. What is it, Tom?
An impasta. Well, today is National Pasta Day, so make sure to indulge in your noodle needs. The National Pasta Association says each American eats about 20 pounds of the stuff each year. Some Italian restaurants are celebrating the delicious carb, including Buca di Beppo, Olive Garden, and Maggiano's. But for students with a tight budget, Pasta Day is every day.
Bad news for fall lovers, as no sign of chilly weather is coming to LA this week. Today's weather will be in the mid-90s. This weekend will be mostly sunny and also in the high 90s. But waking early this Sunday isn't so bad to witness the Illinois meteor shower. This meteor shower is distinctive for being near the top of NASA's most beautiful list. That's all the news for today. I'm Sun Lee.
I'm Tom Rodriguez.
I'm Karina Vargas.
And I'm Kimberly Arenas. Thank you for watching Matador News.